Hello, here we are at week 3. You have already clarified your thinking. You have some tools in your box, and today we're going to create a few more. You're moving rapidly along the pathway to the success you seek. You have identified what you want and created your well-formed outcome. This time, you have to establish your goals. Up to now, all you have in mind is a good idea. It's great that you've got this far, but you'll want to establish goals in order to make your dreams come true. We start by writing down your objective. Let us take a couple of simple examples to give you the idea. If you wish to attain a better weight and shape, notice not lose weight, because the idea is to attract what we want. You know that you have to have a well-formed outcome, and you should state your objective precisely. So perhaps you might say, by 17th July 2015, I will weigh 154 pounds. That is a precise objective, and you know exactly where you want to be and when. You know what it will look like, you know what you can expect to feel like, and you can hear the comments that people will pay you. You might say you would like a nice home, but that's far too vague. Instead, say for example, by midnight on 17 July 2015, I will own a 5,500 square foot house at Sandbanks, Dorset, overlooking the sea. You might like to specify the number of bedrooms and reception rooms. If you can state the precise house you seek, so much the better. The more precision, the greater the chance of success. They are simple examples to illustrate a point. I expect your objective is far more ambitious than either of those. But don't be timid about your goals. Set at least some goals that are a long way outside your comfort zones. You need objectives that will help you to grow and become master of your destiny. Think of St. George. Each time you tackle something you've never done before, perhaps something that you feared, you slay a dragon. Once slain, that dragon never breathes fire again, and you can move on to slay bigger and fiercer dragons in the future. A word of caution though. There may be those around you who do not have your faith, who do not have your ambition, who do not have your drive and your desire to achieve what you want. They will wish to stay in their comfort zones, and I'm sorry to say they will feel threatened if you don't stay in yours also. You will hear them say things like, but you'll need a backup plan, an insurance in case you fail. Just avoid their company. Don't let them drag you into their air raid shelters. Once you've decided upon your objective, commit to it, and don't give up until you have achieved what you want. I experienced exactly similar a situation when at the age of 40 I decided to qualify as a lawyer and change my career. My children were then 6 and 2. It meant that my wife would go to work to support the family, and I had 6 years of training ahead of me. I saw the look in the eyes of some so-called friends. They said things like, "It'll be an awful lot of work. Oh, what a long time. How are you going to manage?" And in brackets, you could almost hear them say, "And of course you'll never make it." But my wife and I had a plan that we stuck to. We knew it would be 3 years at university to obtain a decent law degree. We knew it would be another year at College of Law. We knew it would be another 2 years of on-the-job training. But we got through it and never looked back. And so can you. And you know, there are many thousands of people out there who've done precisely the same sort of thing with their careers, started afresh, gained new qualifications, and chase their dreams. If you go for it with all the energy and determination at your command, you're capable of achieving anything, something wonderful. But you won't do it if all the time you're looking over your shoulder at your backup or insurance plan just in case it doesn't come off, because you won't be truly committed. Consider just a few of the people who've started with nothing, set goals, pursued them, and are now enormously wealthy and successful. Richard Branson founded Virgin Airways, took on the established airlines of the world, and provided a better service than his competitors. J.K. Rowling was a single mother who started writing her first book on a delayed Manchester to London King's Cross railway journey in England and continued writing in cafes. I don't suppose there are many children in the world now who've not heard of Harry Potter, read a Harry Potter book, or seen a Harry Potter film. What is the worst that can happen? The earth won't explode. The sun won't fall from the sky. If you're knocked off course, you just dig deep, reevaluate your goals, and keep going. Remember always, failure doesn't occur until someone gives up. All you have to decide is to press on regardless. All we have in this world is time. Yesterday is history. Tomorrow exists only in our imagination, but we can affect our tomorrows by planning, setting goals, and working towards them. Then we will find out what we can achieve by really trying. There is something very powerful about setting your goals down on paper. Now is the time for you to do that. Create a goal-setting chart or broad plan now. Convince yourself that this is what you're going to do. For the time being, write out a broad, general plan with a time scale. Make the time scale realistic. Pencil in outline stages of the plan, but don't worry too much about the nitty-gritty of the detail. We'll look at that again in a few moments. Take a break now to write out the general shape of your goals. Remind yourself, is this something you really, really want to do? If it is, you'll be feeling enthusiasm for it by now. Are you willing to pay whatever price there may be in time and devotion to your dream? Do you have the strength to achieve it? Now, unless there's something extremely physically wrong with you, you surely do. And even then, it may be merely a case of modifying your dream a little. At this stage, I'd like you to perform a simple but very effective and relaxing exercise that will concentrate your mind. It will concentrate your mind on the resources you already have at your disposal, those you will need to acquire, and the steps you will need to take to reach your goal. Before you start the exercise, make sure you listen to the instructions very carefully and fully understand them. To help with your written plan, we're going to use your timeline. Now, you may or may not be familiar with the concept of a timeline, but whether you are or whether you aren't, listen carefully to these instructions nonetheless. The first step is to establish how you view your timeline. There is no right or wrong way of doing this. We are all different and we see things differently. Make sure there's plenty of clear space around you so that you can take 2 or 3 steps in each direction if necessary. Notice the spot on the ground where you are now standing. For the purposes of this exercise, that represents the present moment. So it follows that you will need to be standing for the exercise. Now, I'd like you to think about tomorrow. Consider where that would be in relation to where you're standing now, and take one step in that direction. From there, think about next month and take another step in that direction. Finally, think about next year and take another step in that direction. Okay. Now move back to the spot on the floor that represents the present moment. From there, think about yesterday. Take a step in that direction. Now think about last week. Take a step in that direction. Finally, think about last year and take another step in that direction. Now, move back to the spot on the floor that represents the present moment and consider your timeline. We need not consider ourselves with technicalities of all this, but most people broadly see their timeline in one of two different directions, although there are one or two who will see it differently again. Some people see yesterday, last month, and last year as either a straight line behind them or passing behind at a slight angle, gradually going further and further behind them according to the length of time. Those people see the future going either directly ahead of them or again at a slight angle, going further and further away into the distance. The second set of people I referred to see the past going from left to right or right to left, and the future going in the opposite direction. Still others, a few perhaps, may experience some sort of circular movement or something completely different. It doesn't matter how you experience it, as long as you know where to you the past is and where the future is on your particular timeline. So take time out now to work out your own timeline and pause the tape in order to do so. Now you've established your timeline firmly, you may sit somewhere quiet where you'll not be disturbed and close your eyes, because the rest of this exercise takes place entirely within your own mind. Imagine that where you are now sitting is the present moment. Mentally, place a large flag in the ground at this point. Make the flag something significant that you will recognize immediately. You may like to make it your national flag, or your state flag, or the flag of some cause you're devoted to or admire. Now, imagine yourself ascending up above your timeline so that you can look down and see that flag in the ground far, far below. Turn in the direction of your past, whichever direction that may be, and start to float gently back along that timeline. If there are any unhappy or traumatic events in your past, make sure you pass quickly over them and do not descend to look at them in more detail. Just keep moving back along your line, observing happy events. As you do so, look for any resources that may be useful to you as you work towards your dream. When I talk about resources, I'm asking you to look for your previous useful experience. It may be that at some time in your past you've done something like this, or taken some steps towards it but not completed them. Or maybe you knew somebody else who did well and who you may be able to model your behaviours on. Maybe you acquired some particular skills that you had forgotten about that could be refreshed and improved and would help you further towards your goal. There will probably be many things in your past that may help you, but now or up until now, you haven't even considered them. Keep looking. Go back into your earliest childhood. As you drift over your timeline, you may be very surprised at the detail of your past life that reveals itself to you. Take all the time you need for this, and then turn and drift back towards the present moment until you can see your flag in the ground. But stay where you are. Don't descend to the ground yet. Instead, look towards the future on your timeline and travel to the point where you have achieved your dream. Everything you want now has come to pass, and you have it right there before you. Allow yourself for a few moments to feel the pleasure of it. See what you'd see, hear what you'd hear, and feel what you would feel. Now, turn around and start to drift back towards the present moment, but very, very slowly. As you come back, notice each of the steps you will have taken, each of the lessons you will have learned, and each of the obstacles you will have overcome in order to get where you wanted to be. As you reach each one, step off the timeline to the side and think about it in detail. What did you do? How did you do it? Then move back onto your timeline and continue back until the present moment, coming off the timeline each time you need to in order to consider your position. When you reach the present moment marked by the flag, descend to the ground, take a deep breath, and open your eyes slowly. For a while, you may feel as if you've been in a completely different world because you have experienced an intense form of concentration. At this stage, make some notes about your experience while you were on your timeline. Write down those things from your past which may be helpful to you, as well as the names of any people who are still around and may be able to help you. Then make notes about the steps you will need to take in the future to achieve your goal. You may need to keep chunking that down into ever smaller steps and more detailed plans. Pause the tape now and take time out to do that. You can revisit your timeline in this way at any time that's convenient to you. Go back into your past to collect what you need, or go into your future to decide what you need to do next. This is a very effective way of moving towards your goal, setting a plan and achieving it. And it's something you can do whenever you wish. The more you chunk down your plan, the better it will be. Make detailed weekly plans, broader monthly plans, and broader still plans for the year. Each week, revisit them, sketch in more detail for the future as you cross various hurdles, and adjust the weekly and monthly plans to take account of what you did or didn't quite manage to do. Consider, what can I do today to get nearer to my goal? It doesn't matter how small that step may be, as long as it helps you to move along. Perhaps it's just acquiring a prospectus or filling in an inquiry form. But do something to move yourself along. Do something to start and to keep going. Set yourself a list of things to do every day to move forward. Aim for between 3 and 5 a day if you can. It may be you don't achieve them all every day, but make sure you do the most important of them and add the outstanding ones to tomorrow's list. You now have a plan in place. Your good idea is no longer just a good idea. It is a goal, and you are moving towards it. The more points you tick off on your plan as you move forward, the quicker you progress towards your dream. Ultimately, you move so quickly that you become unstoppable. You have plenty to think about between now and next week. Make sure you do the exercise and repeat it several times. Be sure to do something every day until we meet again. Until then, be determined, be enthusiastic, and be happy.